Okay, sound. Now, sound is very important. Now, I've done a video on sound already, but when you're trying to get a good sound, a lot of people come up to me and ask me how to get a good sound. When you're trying to get a good sound, first you want to listen to somebody who has a good sound. Say, for instance, Dave Koz or David Sanborn, or maybe even another saxophone player that you like. It doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter how they play. It's about what you think of how they play, what their sound is. And sound is not just what you hear. Sound is everything about how they play. And it goes right down to the fingers, how you put your fingers on the horn, and how you actually display your horn when you're playing, and where your horn is moving. That has a lot to do with sound. But also when you're playing, how close your fingers are to the horn, and how your embouchure is. That has a lot to do with sound. Air has a lot to do with sound. Now, a lot of young students think that, just because you can play the note doesn't mean the note is necessarily correctly being played. Now, alright, now when you learn how to do the note, now you can learn how to do the note and do it correctly, and then when you get advanced and get to a point where you're used to the note, you can break outside of the box, maybe play a little bit flat under key when you're improvising, or you can play subtoned low B flat, or subtones all over the horn. You can do certain things with them because you already used to and accustomed to the notes. Like John Coltrane did it best when he could subtone all over the horn. You can hear it directly in his playing. You won't even know that it's a saxophone playing. You think it's another instrument because of the way the soprano is actually played by John Coltrane. Now, when you're trying to achieve a good sound, what you want to do is you want to have good air support, one. And these are just a couple of hints, and I'm going to have another video because sound is such a broad topic that I'm still studying it today. So one is good air support. Each note needs its own type of air, whether it be fast, whether it be slow, whether it be big in volume or small in volume. Now, your embouchure really controls how much air you put and bring into the horn. Now, when you develop a good embouchure, you can actually play the note and put vibrato under it, and any kind of technique over it, and any kind of dynamic over it that you want to. Now, secondly, you probably want to get good posture. Posture is probably the first thing they teach you. Straight back, 90 degrees, all that jazz. Pretty much like, good posture sitting down. Good posture sitting down will help you free up your lungs and get the most air support out of the horn that you possibly can. And air support is so critical, especially when you're putting forth the effort to play the instrument. You really need to make sure your posture is at maximum. And then pretty much play with confidence. A lot of people, this is another tip, number 3. A lot of people who they have a really good sound, but they don't have any confidence. I can't hear what they're actually doing. Confidence is more than just a loud, blaring saxophone sound. No, it's more than that. It's knowing how to play your dynamics when the dynamics are called for. It's about playing the articulations when they are called for, and playing it the correct way, in the correct style, or relatively as, good as you possibly can. No one's going to be perfect. No one's going to play a piece of music perfectly, so you might as well get that out of your head right now. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that even though you're human, because all of us are human, you play it as close to your interpretation as possible. Now, if you interpret it in a beautiful way, it could be perfect in human standards, I guess. Now, sound is pretty much really what you want to do with it once you've established each note and established a stern saxophone background. It's really what you want to do with it, whether you want to play funky or you want to play, classical. Sound is, you can take it in any genre that you want to, and you can intermingle genres. Those are the best saxophone players who can intermingle genres. I hear Dave Sanborn playing rock type licks and rock type themes and a dirty rock sound in a lot of his music, and he's putting that in slow jams, he's putting that in rock songs, he's putting that in one of his good songs, Maputo. So, just check out a good artist. That's the first thing you want to do. Check out a good artist and make sure you know who you want to, style, listen to. Because if you listen to a good sound, you're going to have, something relatively a good sound if you work at it. A lot of people are like, well, such and such and such and such doesn't sound good. Well, listen to more than one person. You know, even if you don't like Kenny G, you don't have to sound like Kenny G. If you do like Kenny G, sound like him, but you can never be exactly like him. I always stress that. Never be exactly like your artist, because we already have one of those. We already have a Kenny G, a Candy Dover, a Dave Cobb, Dave Sanborn. We've had a Coltrane. We've had a Charlie Parker. We've had a Brecker. We've had we have Sonny Rollins. You know, and we have all these artists. Don't be exactly like them, but take heed of what they're doing. Don't just ignore what they're doing. Actually listen to them. And, you know, even incorporate some of the things they do in your style. But you're never going to be exactly like them, because there's always, the mind is ever changing. If they're improvising, sound is a lot about what you put into it, what you mentally and physically and what soul you put into it. So your soul is never going to be like everybody else's soul, because everybody's different. So good posture, listen to somebody, have good air support, have good technique in everything you do, and these are just some of the things you need to look out for in sound. And then you have to worry about, you know, when you're improvising, how should you use a certain sound or a certain technique, you know, with your sound. There's a lot of good things that you can do with sound, but you really have to just marinate in it as long as you possibly can. I'm Devin, and I hope this helps.